Hey guys, welcome back. As you might have noticed, unfortunately the game that I was using in this course is not available for sale anymore. Here I'm logged in into my ᴘrᴏ account, and as you can see I'm still able to download the game, but if I click on it, the item not available page is displayed. As the page states, the author might have stopped selling it, or it has been taken down by the ᴘrᴏ for some reasons. So, in order for you to be able to follow this course step by step, I decided to purchase another game and show you how to reskin it. This is just an update to the course. The other lessons of this course will still remain relevant. I have picked a similar theme game just for this reason. The game that I will reskin is called Classic Highway Car Avoidance Game and is developed by a trusted seller with a great portfolio, and the game itself has about 240 sales. Hopefully this game will be available for sale for a longer time in case you want to purchase it and follow along. Here you can see the main features of the game. That includes AdMob integration, infinite playing time, high scores, and so on. The game contains about 22 graphics that need to be replaced or modified in case you want to fully reskin the game. Anyway, the author recommends changing at least the icon of the game in case you don't want to replace all the graphics. Next, we can see a video preview of the game. This is how the game will actually look on a real device, a tablet in this case. Let's see what's included in the file that I downloaded from ᴘrᴏ. First, there is the code-import-me in Eclipse folder. This contains the actual source code of the game. Next, there is a design folder, which includes 3 PSD files. Let's open these in Photoshop. As we can see, these contain few screenshots of the game. Then, there is the documentation folder. The documentation is delivered in the HTML format. Here we can find step-by-step instructions on how to reskin the game. Next, there is an editable graphics folder which contains the game graphics in an editable format like Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator. These are easy to modify in case you want to replace the original graphics. But in this lesson, I'm not going to edit these graphics. I'm about to replace these with the ones from the graphic package that I purchased from Graphic River. There is also a graphics folder that contains all the graphic assets of the game. Next is the library that is used in the game, the Google Play Services library. This library is used for displaying ads in the game. And finally, there is a tutorial video which describes the necessary steps to reskin the game. Let's start from the beginning. I'm going to extract the code-import-me in Eclipse folder in my computer, and according to the documentation, the first step is to make sure that you have Eclipse IDE installed along with the latest Android SDK. I already have that installed, so I will switch to Eclipse, and as you can see, the Firefighter project is still in my workspace. This is the original game that I used for this course. I'm going to remove all the projects except for the Google Play Services library, which is also needed in this new project. Next, I will right-click in Package Explorer and will select Import from the menu that appears. I will browse to the location used to extract the source code for the project and will select the code-import-me in Eclipse folder from here. We can see that there are two projects available, the Google Play Services Library project and the Highway Speed project, which is the actual game. As the Google Play Services project is already imported in Eclipse, I will deselect it from the list and will only import the Highway Speed project. Make sure that the Copy Projects into Workspace is checked before clicking on Finish. As soon as the project is imported in Eclipse, we can see that it contains some errors. In such situations, first things to do is to right-click on the project and select Properties from the menu. After that, we select Android, and as we can see, the Google Play Services is not correctly referenced in the project. I'm going to remove the reference to the library and then add it again to the project, this time adding the copy that I already have it installed in Eclipse. As we are already here, we check the project build target to be the latest Android version at this time, which is 4.4W, with W meaning that this SDK also supports development for wearable devices. As soon as Eclipse finishes applying the new settings, we can see that the error is gone. Great, let's test the game to see if it runs in the emulator. I'm going to open Genymotion and start a new virtual device. In this case, the first device available in my list, which is a Nexus 5. I will fast forward the video here until the emulator starts. Let's unlock the device and run the game from Eclipse. We'll do this by right-clicking on the project and selecting Run As and then Android Application from the menu that appears. We are then asked to choose our virtual device used to run the game. I will select the Genymotion virtual machine and I will click OK. After a few moments, the game is starting successfully. Let's try to play it and see how it looks. As we can see, the Genymotion emulator is unable to run the game at a high frame rate. Genymotion is a great emulator, but sometimes, especially when running games, the virtual device appears to run too slow. That's why I'm going to test the game in another emulator called BlueStacks. I'll open up my browser and I will search for BlueStacks on Google. I already have the application installed in my computer, but you can download and install it from here. Let's open up BlueStacks and see it in action. When trying to run the game with the BlueStacks emulator, it can happen that the BlueStacks does not appear in your Android virtual devices list. This has a simple solution. I'm going to open up a command prompt and using the ADB command, which stands for Android Debug Bridge, I will add the device to the list. This can be accomplished by using the following command: ADB connect localhost. Localhost is the address of the BlueStacks emulator. As soon as I run this command, the virtual device becomes available in the Android virtual devices list, so I will select it and then will click OK. As the game starts, we can see that it runs much smoother in the BlueStacks emulator, so keep in mind to try it as an alternative when no other virtual device is performing as expected. Unfortunately, this game uses the accelerometer of the phone in order to steer left or right, but I wasn't able to use any key combination to perform a tilt in the emulator, but more on this subject later. So, now that we saw how the game is looking, let's see what's needed to customize it. Step 2 of the documentation is to import the project in Eclipse. We've already done that, so we can go further. The next step is to change the images of the game, or the graphics. The author asks us to change at least the icon for the game. So, in case you don't want to change any other assets, that's fine, but I strongly recommend you to change most, if not all, of the game graphics and sounds in order to add more value to it when publishing to the store. The graphics that has to be changed are located into the Res folder inside the Drawable folder. By opening some of them, we get an idea of what we need to change. For example, one way to see more details about this image is to go to the File menu and then selecting Properties from there. This image is 100 pixels width and 189 pixels height. Keep in mind that if we decide to replace this image, we have to use another one with the same file type and same dimensions for width and height. This is very important for the game to continue to run as expected. Some of the graphics, like this one, are easier to find or generate. We're now on step 4 of our documentation. This step involves the renaming of the package for the application. As we discussed, every application has to contain a unique package name in order to be able to be published into the marketplace or store. First step is to rename the package name located in the Android manifest file. So I'm going to open up the Android manifest.xml file and we'll switch to the XML or text view. Third line of the file contains the package name, which I'm going to rename it. It's not needed to come up with a totally new name. In this situation, I'm going to replace the neurodigital text with my name, so the package name will become unique. The rest of the name will remain the same, so the package name will now stand as com.christiangradistanu.highwayspeed. Feel free to replace the highway speed word with something else in case you want to. When we save the file, a new confirmation appears to update the launch configuration. We just select yes. Next step is to rename the actual package name from the source folder. We do this by opening the source folder, and we can rename the package by selecting it and either going to File and selecting Rename, or right-clicking it and selecting Refactor and then Rename. Make sure to use the same name as the one used earlier in the Android manifest file. Let's run the game one more time to see if all these changes didn't affect it in any way. Great, the game still runs as expected. On step 5, we have to replace the ads of the game with our own ad ID in order to be able to monetize the game by displaying ads. Currently, the game supports banner ads displayed in the bottom of our main game screen. In order to generate a new ad ID, I'm going to log in into my AdMob account. Here I'm logged in into my account and will start by creating a new ad unit for the game. I will select Add your app manually as the game is not yet published in the Play Store. Next, I will give it a name, will select Android as publishing platform and will click Add App. I'm going to create a new tracking ID, even though I will not use it in this lesson. This is used to track your app by using the Google Analytics services. Next, I will choose the type of the ad unit that I want to integrate in my app. As discussed, this will be a banner ad. We'll give it a name and we'll click Save. A new ad unit ID is generated for us and displayed. This is the ID that we are going to use in the game. I will copy this ID and will have to insert it in the strings.xml file. This file is located into the res folder and then into the values folder. Again, I will switch to the XML view, and on the bottom of the file there is a line that says put banner add unit ID from AdMob here. We just need to replace this text with our add unit ID. In case the game has contained another add ID, you need to change that with your ID in order for you to monetize the game. Many games are being sold containing the author's ad ID, and if you don't change it with yours, they will make money from the game even though you are the one who publishes the game or reskin it, so make sure to search for the ad ID occurrence in all your project's files. Next, I'm going to run the game to see if the ads are being displayed. As we can see, the ads are displayed in the bottom left corner of our screen. The final step in the documentation file is to export the game as an APK file in order to be published in the Play Store. This can be done by selecting the project, right-clicking on it, and going to Android Tools and then selecting the Export Signed Application package from here. In our case, the project contains some lint errors and cannot be exported unless these are resolved. For that, I'm going to click on the Problems tab, and as we can see, all the errors refers about the text or string of the app not being translated to another languages. We can disable the checking for these errors by right-clicking and then selecting Quick Fix from the menu. Next, we select Disable Check in this project and we'll click Finish. Now that all errors are gone, let's try one more time to export the project as a signed application. A new wizard is displayed which will guide us through the export process. We are going to create a new KStore for the application. I explained the role of the KStore in another lesson of this course, so I will just proceed with the KStore creation here. I will save the KStore to my desktop location and then we'll fill all the required fields in order to sign the APK. Again, I will select the desktop folder as the destination for my application file and will click Finish. After a few moments, both the KStore and the application file can be found on my desktop. In the next part of this update, I will discuss about replacing the graphics for the cars. Hey guys, welcome back. As you might have noticed, unfortunately the game that I was using in this course is not available for sale anymore. Here I'm logged in into my CodeCanyon account, and as you can see, I'm still able to download the game. But if I click on it, the item not available page is displayed. Damn game, just for this reason. The game that I will reskin is called Classic Highway Car Avoidance Game and is developed by a trusted seller with a great portfolio, and the game itself has about 240 sales. Hopefully this game will be available for sale for a longer time in case you want to purchase it and follow along. Here you can see the main features of the game. That includes AdMob integration, infinite playing time, high scores, and so on. The game contains about 22 graphics that need to be replaced or modified in case you want to fully reskin the game. Anyway, the author recommends changing at least the icon of the game in case you don't want to replace all the graphics. Next, we can see a video preview of the game. This is how the game will actually look on a real device, a tablet in this case. Let's see what's included in the file that, as the page states, the author might have stopped selling it or it has been taken down by the Code Canyon for some reasons. So, in order for you to be able to follow this course step by step, I decided to purchase another game and show you how to reskin it. This is just an update to the course. The other lessons of this course will still remain relevant. I have picked a similar